In the pre-dawn darkness of a Roman military camp somewhere along the Danube frontier, an emperor sits alone with his thoughts. The greatest ruler of the ancient world dips his stylus in ink and writes words never meant for other eyes. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius Antoninus does not know that these private conversations with himself will outlive the empire he governs. These midnight wrestlings with mortality, duty, and the human condition become humanity's most intimate glimpse into the soul of absolute power. The leather-bound journal trembles in imperial hands. Outside, Germanic tribes press against Roman borders. Inside, a philosopher-king battles his own demons. The most powerful man on earth questions everything: his worth, his legacy, the very nature of existence itself. Rome stretches from Britain to the Black Sea, yet its emperor feels utterly alone. The weight of 1,000,000 lives rests on his shoulders. Every decision ripples through history. Every moment of weakness could topple an empire that has stood for centuries. He writes by candlelight, surrounded by the chaos of military campaigns. Death lurks in every shadow. Plague ravages his armies. Enemies sharpen their swords, and time itself conspires against mortal flesh. Yet, in these pages, he finds peace. The meditations emerge not as polished philosophy, but as raw, unfiltered introspection. Each entry bleeds authenticity. Here stands a man wrestling with insomnia, frustration, and the terrible burden of leadership. His vulnerability becomes his greatest strength. Born in 121 CE, Marcus grows up in the golden glow of Roman prosperity. The empire reaches its zenith under his predecessors. Art flourishes, roads connect distant lands, and Pax Romana brings unprecedented peace. Yet beneath this splendor, cracks begin to show. Hadrian, the traveling emperor, notices the serious young man with penetrating eyes. He sees something rare, a ruler who questions power rather than simply wielding it. The succession path alters, destiny bends, and philosophy prepares to wear the purple. The Antonine Plague sweeps across the empire like a shadow of death. Bodies pile in streets. Trade routes become arteries of disease. The emperor watches helplessly as his world crumbles. Yet in his private writings, he finds acceptance. Death smiles at us all, he writes, but all a man can do is smile back. These words echo through centuries, offering comfort to countless souls facing their own mortality. The emperor becomes everyman, the ruler becomes the ruled by fate. His philosophical education begins early. Epictetus, the former slave who became Stoicism's greatest teacher, lives in Marcus's thoughts. The paradox captivates. Wisdom often emerges from suffering, strength from vulnerability, freedom from accepting limitation. Morning after morning, the emperor practices what he calls the view from above. He imagines himself rising higher, seeing Rome, then Italy, then the known world shrinking to a speck. Perspective becomes his sanctuary. The meditations reveal a mind constantly fighting itself. Anger rises, he acknowledges it. Frustration builds, he examines it. Doubt creeps in, he confronts it. The emperor's greatest battles rage within his own consciousness. How much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does. Yet as emperor, he must watch everyone, trust no one completely, and carry the weight of universal surveillance. The contradiction torments him. In Book 2, he reminds himself that dawn always comes. Each sunrise offers renewal. Each day presents opportunities for virtue. The emperor who could command the sun to stand still instead finds solace in its natural rhythm. The Germanic wars drag on year after year. Young Romans die far from home. Barbarian children become orphans. The emperor sees war's true cost, not in gold or territory, but in human dreams extinguished before they fully bloom. He writes about his adoptive father, Antoninus Pius, with profound reverence. Here was a man who ruled without ego, who found joy in simple pleasures, who never let power corrupt his essential humanity. The lesson burns bright. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. These words carve themselves into collective human memory. Across centuries, they comfort the desperate, inspire the defeated, and remind the powerful that everything passes. Sleep eludes him. In the darkness, he inventories his failures, his shortcomings, his moments of weakness. Yet rather than succumbing to despair, he transforms self-criticism into self-improvement. The emperor becomes his own most demanding teacher. The Stoic concept of preferred indifference fascinates him. Health, wealth, reputation, all external circumstances that touch life's surface but cannot penetrate its core. True peace comes from within, from accepting what cannot be changed. His pen moves across parchment with desperate urgency. Time runs short. He feels it in his bones, sees it in his greying hair, tastes it in the bitter medicine his physicians prescribe. These words become his truest children. Be like the rocky headland on which the waves constantly break. It stands firm, and round it the seething waters are laid to rest. The emperor transforms himself into stone, not through hardness, but through unwavering principle. The Meditations contain no grand narrative, no systematic philosophy. Instead, they offer fragments, moments of clarity captured like lightning in bottles. Each entry stands alone, yet together they compose a symphony of human resilience. He wrestles with the problem of evil people. How can the universe contain cruelty, injustice, and willful ignorance? His answer cuts to the heart. Even evil serves purpose, teaching patience, compassion, and the value of virtue. The emperor's mother, Domitia Lucilla, taught him to see beyond appearances. Beneath Rome's marble facades, she showed him, lived real people with real struggles. This lesson shapes his entire approach to leadership and life. Confine yourself to the present becomes his mantra. The past exists only in memory, the future only in imagination. Reality unfolds in the eternal now, where choice and action intersect, where life actually happens. His writing style mirrors his philosophy, spare, direct, unadorned. No flowery rhetoric, no elaborate metaphors, just truth distilled to its essence, like morning dew collecting on grass blades, pure and temporary. The emperor contemplates his own legacy with unsettling clarity. Monuments crumble, names fade, empires dissolve into dust. Yet somehow these private thoughts, scribbled in moments of solitude, achieve immortality. Book 7 opens with reflections on reputation. The emperor who commands universal acclaim recognizes its emptiness. How brief is life, how vast the earth, he writes, putting glory in proper perspective. He practices negative visualization, imagining loss, disaster, death, not from morbid fascination but from philosophical necessity. By rehearsing life's inevitable sorrows, he builds resilience, appreciation, and acceptance. The Meditations influence countless minds across centuries. Thomas Jefferson reads them, finding parallels between Roman virtue and American ideals. Gandhi discovers nonviolent resistance in Stoic acceptance. Modern therapists recognize cognitive behavioral therapy's ancient roots. The mind that pursues the good, whether it succeeds or not, is honored by the very attempt. These words echo through history, inspiring everyone from prisoners of war to anxious students facing impossible examinations. His final campaign takes him to modern-day Austria. The emperor's health fails, his body weakens, but his spirit remains unbroken. He continues writing, continues wrestling with existence's fundamental questions. The Meditations reveal a man simultaneously powerful and powerless. He can command legions but cannot command sleep. He can shape laws but cannot shape fate. This paradox defines the human condition. March 17th, 180 CE. The emperor dies in his military tent, surrounded by officers and physicians. His last words, according to legend, concern duty and service. The philosopher-king's earthly reign ends. Yet his true reign begins. The meditations circulate slowly, copied by hand, treasured by those who recognize their value. A private journal becomes public inspiration, personal struggle becomes universal strength. In modern times, the book sits on nightstands of CEOs and students alike. Its wisdom transcends cultural boundaries, speaking to anyone who has ever felt overwhelmed by responsibility, crushed by circumstances, or simply human. The emperor's greatest achievement was not expanding the empire, but exposing the soul. He showed that power and vulnerability can coexist, that strength and sensitivity complement each other, that leadership begins with self-knowledge. His influence flows through unexpected channels. Cognitive therapy borrows his techniques. Mindfulness meditation echoes his presence-focused approach. Self-help movements mine his insights. The emperor becomes humanity's therapist. 2,000 years later, we still hear his voice across the centuries. In moments of crisis, his words offer anchors. In times of doubt, his example provides direction. The emperor who ruled an empire teaches us to rule ourselves. The candlelight flickers out, but the words remain, glowing with eternal relevance in the darkness of human uncertainty.